Hello, everyone. My name is Marita Caraveo, and the significance of this story and the importance it is to me is it demonstrates who I am today and how I found my voice in such dark times in my life. I explain the discovery of all my pain and the scars, the road that marked my footprints, of all the accomplishments and fears I ever faced. It shows how I am as a person and who I've grown to be. I specifically chose this topic because I wanted to explain what happened to me during those 4 years of my life, of going to high school. I realized my worth and how I stand my ground for what I deserve. I grew into the young and determined adult that I never thought I'd become overall. It's personally a journey that completes my puzzled life. In 2012, my parents always thought of opening their first business together. In 2013 is when they decided to open what once was Tacos Tijuana on Rio Bravo and Isleta. In fact, I would help them every day after school, help them with dishes, bussing tables, and sometimes even taking orders. This is one of the last family pictures that we actually took as a whole. I personally realized that you should always appreciate what you have before it's taken for granted. In 2014, I worked every single day with my parents. As soon as I would get home, I would just do my homework, and it was the same routine the following weeks and days. When I worked at my parents' restaurant, it's when I realized that working with with your family is something that can separate you or even a family member away from you or for your entire life. There was times where my parents where I saw them good. They were always loving each other. They were good. They were on and off, and that's how it continually stayed. My parents weren't the same after a year of owning what they considered to be their lifetime dream. I personally thought to myself, this is a phase. I believe my parents would never separate over a job. I thought to myself, it wouldn't let them get between them. During those months when me and my brothers and sisters realized that my parents were less and less in love with each other, my father at this point, he would take my sister and I to a movie or even to a pizza night very often during the week, which would never happen. It would happen occasionally, and the way that my mother coped with her pain was that she would work every single day. And the reason why my father would take us out either to picnics or a movie date was to avoid my mother. He didn't want to see her. He didn't want to argue with her. My mom as well, she would just hire as many people as she could. But even then, to avoid being lonely, she would go to work and always work. The time that I'd be working, it was personally mostly with my mom. I would always see her crying, but no matter how much I tried, she would not let me help her. She would not let me help her distract her or even, see if she's okay, even though I knew she wasn't. At this moment, I realized that things were okay between my family, and if we did not do anything about it, it would have ruined our family. Here is when my mother began to take some more time for herself and for us. We noticed that she felt a little bit more like herself and that she took the day off finally after many, many years, which I believe is 3 years to be exact, that she had her first day off. She wanted to attempt to talk things out with my father and see what they can do to fix things. But when she decided to finally take off the afternoon and go home to her family, she got home to an empty closet and an emptiness inside her. My father had decided to leave the house and separate from my mother. I knew then that things in my life from now on was going to be so different, and that's including holidays, birthdays, and even any family event. In this image here, I actually assisted into one of my brother slash cousin's wedding that occurred in June 20th, 2016. After my mother fell in depression, she would cry every single day for several nights. she always said that she wanted to be alone and away from everyone. And at this time, at the wedding, I felt free and I felt happy because after many months that I'd been consoling my mother to sleep, it was very hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard because I felt as if I had to mature as a person and be there for my sister and my mother. You know, especially with the age that I had, I felt like I shouldn't have matured at a very young age. During this time, my older brother actually decided to move out since he couldn't handle the fact that my parents got a divorce. In fact, in this very image is when my father hugged me tight and told me, "Don't worry. I know things are very different and very difficult for you, but you'll be okay. I promise." After he told me that, I realized that I can do it. I can help my mom get better, help my sister, just bond the family the most that I can, even if we were together as a whole. When freshman and sophomore year came around, I realized that it was the best and worst years of my life. You know, I met friends like Myra, Erica. I personally met friends that were very toxic for my life and some that were very, very so close to me that I still am friends with today. You know, it shows that during this time in my freshman and sophomore year, I grew to be such a big person. I matured, I removed toxicity out of my life, and I brought people in that I know will love me forever. In the image displayed here, I have pictures of my sister, of my boyfriend, of my dad, and pictures of myself. Myself to initiate because I love who I've become. I've learned to love myself and who I've become today. The image displayed as my boyfriend, you know, he's helped me through very, very difficult times in my life and I appreciate for him. And especially my sister because she became my very best friend as well as my father. And the reason why it was the worst years of my life was because during the 3 years that I worked for my family's restaurant, I lost someone so close to me. And that was my brother. He didn't die, but he stopped being in my life. He removed himself from my life and from my parents' life. And I haven't heard from him in over a year. Junior and senior year came around where I finally came out of the dark hole that I struggled so much to get out of. The way, that I accomplished this was, I met new people. I committed myself to go to the gym, to do better, to feel better, and be better. The image displayed, I met amazing new friends, which are Samantha and Jose. I could honestly say they're the best people that came into my life, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. There's pictures displayed of my mother, of how she is to this day, happy, glowing, and with her 1-year-old baby. And it'll also display the picture of my boyfriend since he's still in my life currently, and we're both happy. So this is who I am today. I'm happy, I'm glowing, I gloomed, and I graduated high school with honors, and I'm currently in college trying to do the same thing. The reason why I displayed these flowers onto the presentation was to show who I am as a person, how I gloomed. I personally think that a rose describes me because even at its most difficult times, I grew and I became someone I personally love and someone I personally very, very appreciate for. And this is the end. I hope that you take this memoir and consider it to take it as a motivation to keep pushing yourself and to continue to be better for yourself and to do better for yourself. Thank you.